In the schools, there were two most prominent kinds of plans for integration of or desegregation of the school systems, and some did say desegregation and others integration. In the whole movement, there was an effort to have desegregation precede integration. That is, that the structures be changed and described as having been changed before any actual integration. The desegregation was the making up the mind that the structures would be changed somewhat. And some of the school districts simply had desegregation plans, and those plans often said that they would integrate a geographic area. And the integration of the geographic area was very simple because many times it meant no movement at all, but just describing an area in such a way that you just declared the area integrated with situations the way they had always been. That a report was made to the federal government that this district was desegregated, and then the language in the report would describe the number of black students and the number of black teachers in the area, and the area would include the same schools in the same shape they'd always been. The other plan generally was freedom of choice. Both plans depended upon the black or African American parents and students to integrate the schools. That freedom of choice plan both required an application to be able to go to schools, but also allowed white parents the right to remove their children if they decide to do so from any school where black or African American students were being enrolled. Neither of those plans worked well enough to achieve what the Supreme Court had intended or what the U.S. Office of Education intended that would be achieved by the integration of schools. Freedom of choice appeared to be such a wonderful principle according to how a democracy regulates itself that it became very, very popular. But in its popularity, all of the requirements for its operation rested upon the resourcefulness of black and African American families, the resources that are available to them, the kind of stamina the students coming out of those families were able to have, and the willingness of the families to confront the kind of resistance that would be present, both at the top of the county Department of Education and in the particular schools where the children would be enrolled. Oftentimes in anticipation of that resistance and knowing that the parents who attempted such a thing would be known in the community meant that the African American parents were very reluctant to use that approach because they would be singled out, and there was a reprimand or several reprimands that they would face, including losing their jobs, and in many cases having their children ostracized when they reported to those schools. I don't believe that any of those efforts in and of themselves were successful, not in terms of creating the integration of schools.